Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to From the Ink Up. My name is Sapph, and I'm here tonight with Falco. Falco, number 100, one hundo. In the times that we've known From the Ink Up to be, you and I have played in From the Ink Up. Shout out to Rebels for Reba. If you know, you know. We've both commentated. We don't know when. It's been a while. We don't know when, but we both commentated for From the Ink Up. We both get to sit here in block number 2 to commentate the 100th one. It's really exciting. How's it going, Falco? What's going on? Ruffles. Don't forget, we got to talk about Ruffles too. Don't think I forgot.
Oh man, you're putting so many topics into my brain. We'll start. Okay, we'll start with
you the itinerary.
I know the whole rundown for the top cut we have going on. No, it's good to be here. Yes, on IPL especially, moving from Under Pressure, and you mentioned that FTIU holds a special place in our heart. It truly does. This is by far my most played tournament. Just because
it might be for me as well. Actually.
Yeah, just because back in the day, at least like a year and a half ago, we would try and play, I would say, quite a few times, not every other week whenever it comes out or whenever it happens, but it's just kind of been our it's Friday, let's form a pickup, let's go have fun, because neither you or I are banned from any tournament, from a skill perspective.
And thank goodness for that. We
I
don't
know.
have our,
So-
our banned from IPL or banned from any
Yeah.
IPL tournament certificate on our walls.
Exactly. So we get to have fun, and it's great to be here on the 100th edition. I remember when FTIU was just a little itty bitty baby. So it's great to be back here. Let's move on to top cut. Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse versus Fruit Lovers. We have a whole plethora of appetizers that are going on, and we'll take a look at the weapons. Nothing is jumping out to me specifically. I would say the vanilla splat roller, not one we see very often, but can maybe do some damage.
Right, and I believe earlier on this broadcast too, the Dynamo was really wreaking havoc, and especially the Dynamo heavy combination has been really popular lately, so no surprise that Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse is going to be bringing that out here on Shipshape Cargo Co. Also, Dubious, I love the word, the descriptor word is dubious for Yakitori Steakhouse. Falco and I had to do a little bit of research before we came online. Yakitori is in fact a type of food. It is a Japanese staple. It's a chicken skewer. A grilled chicken skewer, for those of you at home that maybe are like scratching your head and wondering. That's what's going on there.
So it's also delicious. I feel like I've had it a few days in my time here. Fruit Lovers with a pretty early push to 91, but Dubious Yakitori, I mean, they had a 2-player advantage, tried to get on the tower. They're still continuing this push, and they are going to finally get it a little bit here. We can see Blue Jay here is just waiting for somebody in front of the tower. Always great to have a person in front of that tower, especially by the checkpoint, but unfortunately for them, they are going to get stuck here at that 66 mark. So it's still a better push than Fruit Lovers, but Fruit Lovers is doing a very great job putting ink on the stage.
Yeah, there is a lot of ink going down on the stage for Fruit Lovers, and especially on the respawn here, the tower is going to sail through to that first checkpoint with still not a lot of blue to show for it from Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse. We were mostly respawned back in and hopefully going to cause some havoc here, but still multiple members of Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse going down and actually in a delayed wipeout situation, now finding themselves lined up to get into the second checkpoint here for Fruit Lovers, and especially a really strong foothold in this court area. The killer whale's going to come out, but not really cause too much damage here. Pink Envy eventually is going to be taken out. That's K also going down, maybe taking a little bit of taking damage as well. But Fruit Lovers still very present in the middle section, Falco.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to try and keep up this pressure as long as they can, especially when you have players like K who are able to flank, get some key picks, making sure that you're working backwards to forward. They're probably going to try and identify where this heavy edit is now and take them out, or I'm sorry, the splatling, and take them out. But again, just if they can play this neutral game for another minute or so, they're going to be very, very comfortable. I think Dubious Yakitori's Steakhouse now, again, what's tricky is they're pushing forward. Okay, they're actually doing a very good job now, finally getting somebody on the tower. I was going to say, they have a lot of bodies forward, but not much moving on the tower. I don't want them to get ahead of themselves, but I think they're going to do very well here. Unfortunately, they have to get all the way past this checkpoint that they got a majority of the way through last time, but again, still in a much better position.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the brute force of just trying to move your way forward to allow your players to get into position here, because now down to the 40 mark, looking at a lead switch here as well. You have Ross trying to bring help out Bubble in the front there and pushing two members of Fruit Lovers back into the backstage. Now down to the 33 mark for Dubious. Looking pretty good there. A 5-point lead is not really much. Especially when you have a minute and a half left to go for Fruit Lovers, and with that cooler coming online, that's hopefully going to cause a little bit of a boost. But again, two members down. Fruit Lovers, unfortunately, is not really finding too much headway here when it comes to the offense.
Yeah, they're still struggling to figure out what they want to do here, especially when you have somebody like Roe who's just waiting and sharking. They know they're in a good position. They can just hang out there all day long. They still are waiting for somebody to get on the tower, but Cherry's going to sniff them out and push them down. So Fruit Lovers, they're in a better position now, but they have to get something going, especially with how much time is remaining now. Now, the good news is they don't have to get past that second checkpoint. They just have to get to it for them to take the lead. But I think Dubious here, they just want to wait and get one of their players in a key position. Tower's now going to be moving. Blowjay is going to be trying to use that Zuka to get somebody too, is going to be missing, but still some other players going down on Fruit Lovers thanks to their teammates.
Yeah, the Trizuka, although not finding any picks there, super helpful with just displacing the members of Fruit Lovers, because, I mean, all four members taking up that elbow position there could have been really crucial, especially having the higher ground advantage with Dubious Steakhouse being down into the court area. But it's still, once again, even with specials coming out for Fruit Lovers, it just doesn't seem like we can get those players into key positions for us to keeping the offense moving forward. I could be eating my words here, though, as we have a couple seconds left remaining here, but there's still a couple of players of Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse just well positioned there before Fruit Lovers could actually take the tower back into place. So with only a couple of points to spare, though, standing between them, Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse is going to take the first game.
Yeah, they just threw all the bodies on the tower at the very end to get the stop. And I mean, don't let that paint fool you. The paint went back and forth between both of those teams. Fruit Lovers, though, again, they did a very good job recapturing a lot of the paint as soon as it went into Dubious Yakitori's favor, but they were able to just keep up the pressure. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't going to be enough. Remember, now that we are entering Top Cut, it's still a best of 3 in this first round, and we're going to be going on to Rainmaker Museum d'Alfonsino for this one, so we'll see if any teams take that very early first checkpoint just by getting lucky hopping on the spinner. Typically, if one team does it, the other team just counters and does it right back, and then it just becomes a brand new Rainmaker game, but I'll be curious to see if these teams change up their comps again. I don't know, the vanilla roller pick, you know, some players have bread and butter weapons. I won't knock anything like that, but that typically is just not the strongest bubble weapon that we see in the game.
Yeah, not currently, especially. I feel like that one's kind of fallen off a little bit, but if you have somebody that's really open to challenging the ledges and being more aggressive and forward with it, then it will be advantageous for you. You can't really hesitate when you're in a roller position, I feel. You have to, if you're going to choose to be that close to the combat, then you have to really commit to what you want to be doing. And speaking of commitment, Falco, talking about commitment, Ruffles original flavor potato chips sold at almost every single store that we could ever imagine. It's one of the best flavors of potato chips. It's been around since 1958. I mean, my God. That's a long time.
You've got some fun facts geared up that I'm sure we'll focus on after this game, because I have thoughts too. So it's going to be the roller who's going to be the only one who makes that immediate drop on the right side, really trying to see who is there by throwing a curling ball. Now, if you do that, you kind of reveal that, hey, I might be dropping on the side, but guess what? They stayed alive, and their team gets that wipeout. So Yakitori Steakhouse got to grab this Rainmaker in a perfect position to get that checkpoint. Now, more importantly, you have players who are in front of the checkpoint already. We did see the V-Shot player get up there with the Trizuka. I don't think they got anybody, but just knowing if you're Fruit Lovers and you see how fast Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse can move, you just really got to be on your toes for the rest of this game.
Totally, and going over into the left, or yeah, the left-hand corner over there, Pink Envy kind of taking up the rear here. There's still plenty of space to be had though for Yakitori, because Blue is going to be the one picking up the Rainmaker over on the corner here, and they still keep providing the jumps here for Yakitori to keep the push going. Fruit Lovers though having a lot of ink coverage on their platform here, and especially now that Cooler's going to be coming out as well, kind of insult to injury. The Tri-Strikes are going to come out as well. Finally, we're going to be clearing up the bottom part of this platform here. Fruit Lovers is going to be able to come back out into the stage once again, having to fight this 49-point lead here. But if subs is all that it takes to keep them back, Falco, I'm not sure what Fruit Lovers needs to do here to try to turn it around.
Yeah, it's like they have one person one by one try and drop down and see what they can do, but that's going to be the first immediate target for anybody from Dubious Yakitori. So Dubious Yakitori, they're just waiting for that player advantage. You know, you win 1v1, you're probably going to be sitting pretty. And again, they're able to get this Rainmaker back to where that first checkpoint was. It didn't really get anywhere at this time. And finally, Fruit Lover was able to pick it up. I'm sure they're going to net at least some points on the board, and they're going to be taking a more slow and steady approach just because they're in this 4v4 position. I'm glad they dropped it down, but they just really have to be careful on how they want to push this forward.
Yeah, careful indeed. That's Pink Envy on the Rainmaker. There's somebody that's actually very early into their comp experience as well. So from the Ink Up being the perfect stage to kind of show your stuff, if you will. Going down in a trade with somebody from Yakitori, they're down in the center stage. Look, trying to see if they can make a little bit of momentum pushing forward. Kay is going to try to open something up there, but also going down in a trade. It just seems like Fruit Lovers can't quite stop themselves from going down in trades with Yakitori Steakhouse, but it's one of those things where the trades are not worth it unless you are have a lead and a significant one at that. And at this moment in time, with only 2 minutes left remaining, Yakitori Steakhouse only has one checkpoint standing in their way, whereas Fruit Lovers is still looking at at least 2 mountains to climb here because there's one checkpoint.
Yeah, and I would still argue that Dubious Yakitori, they're in the advantage, but slowly losing it as far as the map control. And Fruit Lovers finally getting a little bit more comfortable, but they have a lot of players who are in front of this Rainmaker, and I don't want them to get too ahead of themselves at this point, because Dubious Yakitori able to just throw some bombs here. But with all that said, Pink Envy able to get it. Now remember, they still have to get a little bit further to take the lead, and they have a one-player advantage. At this situation, it might be a grab and go. You're still at a one-player advantage, especially you're facing a roller and a shot player. That suction bomb's going to be thrown there, so they can't grab it quite yet, but they gotta pick it up before it goes away, and Pink Envy's finally going to do so. Goes around, but gets splatted by one of the members on Dubious Yakitori, so a lot went down there in that last 20 seconds, and it might be a little bit trickier for Fruit Lovers now at this point.
Yeah, it seemed like getting a little ahead of ourselves with jumping in there, because Kay was jumping into Cherry and then immediately going down. Cherry tried to throw a bomb and a wall or something. Tried to throw everything they could to see if they could help their teammate out in that corner, but unfortunately meeting their demise there. So down to the 58 mark. Now no checkpoint standing in the way for either team at this point. But Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse still having the upper hand here.
Let's see, with 30 seconds left, again, I think for Dubious Yakitori, just kind of play it out. Don't overextend. You can lose a little bit of mid, but don't go 2 players down. Don't give up your lead. You have to make sure that you're going to be staying alive and saving some of your specials here. And you know, looking at your specials, you have a Zuka, you have a Killer Whale, and so use those to your advantage, but you want to make sure that you're in a good position when you do use those specials. And Fruit Lovers finally picking it up here. No player advantage right now, waiting in mid. Pink Envy's still the one holding it. They have to get some bodies in front of them, but look at this roller. Roller's going to go down. 2 are going to go down on Dubious Yakitori. 1 down on Fruit Lovers. Pink Envy still trying to find a way to push forward. One of the members, it's going to be the gal from Dubious Yakitori, is not a shy player. It's just one, just the roller. Can Pink Envy get away? Yes, they can, barely avoiding that roller shot. Oh, that would have been so close if that landed, but a great patience by Pink Envy, able to know when to push forward, and they did a fantastic job winning this game.
I don't think either player was expecting that at all. I don't think that like the roller made the perfect jump for NB to just go right underneath them, like for a frame by frame finish for Pink NB in that moment. And I don't think either of them really expected that to happen. So if you are Fruit Lovers, you have to be riding this high going into a tied set and trying to look in for your next win.
Yeah, that was a really good win. Again, not having the lead pretty much the entire game, and then finally picking up the Rainmaker, able to get that lead. Got to be good. I'll go back to your Ruffles comment here. You said, okay, you said plain Ruffles are one of the best flavors. Let's circle back. The thing is, there aren't a lot of Ruffles flavors. There's a lot of like Lay's product flavors, but not a lot of Ruffles.
Oh, hold on. Let me tell you.
Okay, some of us didn't go to Thailand and get mayonnaise Ruffles.
That doesn't. What does that have to do with it? Yeah, there's a lot more flavors.
That's probably one of the flavors
there.
you're going to point out.
Yeah, but of course, there's an expansion of flavors depending on what region of the world you're in, but just in general.
Okay,
there's
my
a lot of
point
Ruffles
being,
flavors. Okay.
Original Ruffles is best with like French onion dip or something. I need a dipper. That chip's gonna be a vehicle for me.
But the chip itself, the vessel itself, if that was French onion flavor or sour cream and onion flavor, and then you had the dip at the same time, is that too much?
I think that's too much. That's overkill.
Okay, well, you know what's not is there's a lot happening at Scorch Gorge actually that is not super overkill because it just started. So there's still a lot of action. Okay. Yeah, there's still a lot of action to be had, so we actually didn't miss anything at all. So and no comp changes either. I mean, the Tetris I believe is something that's different unless I miss something entirely.
Yeah,
and actually the carbon
roller
too. Yeah, the carbon roller as well is something different.
Right, because we had the carbon, or we had the vanilla in the first two games, switching now to carbon, and yeah, Tetra Dualies now coming out. Bubble is going to be getting a power claim, but ooh, they stay alive from that splat bomb, and then are going to go down to either the slosher or the reef slider. They're going to go down to damage. And Fruit Lover is very quick to counter this too, and should be able to push up. And like in Clan Blitz, when you see you have a 3-player advantage, you're like, nope, we're just gonna push forward. We're gonna do everything. We're just gonna brute force this, and that's exactly what they're doing. Ooh, bunching up, very, very risky in that position with the Trizukas coming out too. Fruit Lover's lucky that not more than one person went down, so they just got to be a little bit careful here on this push. But it's now back to mid with Fruit Lovers slowly extending forward.
Yeah, slowly indeed, because there's not really a whole lot of action happening quite yet here. K is going to be the one to try to engage something, though, as the football now barely touching the ramp here for the side of Fruit Lovers. And I like that 512 is kind of luring people out with the Dynamo Roller to see if they can lure them back into the fight in their own spawn. But it seemed to me that Fruit Lovers had a pretty decent push that was about to get started there, but then unfortunately it was toppled because of a 3 versus 1 situation. But it makes me wonder, though, if Kay was so confident to push forward there and take that fight and calling 3 members out in that moment, where was the rest of Fruit Lovers? So I'm wondering if there's still a little bit more organization to be had before we can get started here. But at the same time, we're getting into the 3rd minute of the game here, and nothing has happened.
Well, take a look at the clam economy from Dubious Yakitori. Like, they had 14 at one point. Okay, that Zuka pick is huge, too. Can they land that one against S12? No, they can't. Okay, so I was going to say that is definitely the time you want to try and push forward. But it didn't work. And Dubious Yakitori, that's Row, very risky. Yeah, picking up that power claim, too. But doing everything they can to stay alive. They just don't want to give Fruit Lovers an opportunity. I know they were waiting for a lot of their team members to respawn and pulled forward, but they didn't overextend at that point, which is great too. But now Fruit Lovers in a much better position. Strikes are going to be coming out. S512 is going to be throwing that cooler out, going to go down, but their teammates are still applying some of this pressure. Big NB able to score, gets the first score. 2-player advantage right now too. There could be a lot of clams, but that's actually going to just be S here. A few jumps, they're probably going to go down because those jumps are spotted. But look, that's just one power clam and one clam to follow up. And so this is definitely a game that Dubious Yakitori can take control of.
Yeah, take control of indeed. And it took them 3 minutes to do it. I mean, my goodness. it's a slow moving race, but perhaps maybe just holding on, hoarding all of the wealth until the very last couple of minutes is the way to go when you're Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse, because it seems to me maybe that's what's going to be happening again. But you have 3 members going down, and you have 1 member ready with a special too, but where is the rest of my team to like launch that in a defensive motion here? And especially if you already have cover fire coming down from Fruit Lovers. But Falco, the clam spawns are not in Fruit Lovers' favor here, because still there's not even with that man advantage, very briefly, there was still not enough clam economy to really make a push happen.
No, and they have some time just to form 1 power claim to get it into overtime, because I'm not concerned with the claims they have when overtime starts. They just need to get 1 power claim and 2 claims in to win. They could easily go around, but they need to take advantage of this player advantage right now. It looks like they do. Oh, I'm sorry, Fruit Lovers, yeah, able to get that power claim and trying to extend their lead. They do a pretty good job with this. Pink MB able to jump out. It's just going to be S who's alive, going to have to back out, so the push is likely going to end there. So now you think about, okay, if Dubious Yakitori here, they're going to get another Mercy Clam. They have 2 power claims. To get both of those in, they're only 4 clams away from getting the win. So Fruit Lovers really just got to be on edge for these last 5 seconds going into overtime.
They've got to be on edge for it, but they are going to initiate overtime, having a power clam in tow. And this is the most movement I've seen from Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse in this game so far. Like barely making it up the ramp there, but with the tri-strikes coming out in a defensive motion, that is going to be the power clam going down on the ground. There's nobody in sight. There's no ground to stand on for Dubious Yakitori Steakhouse. So we're going to be shifting into game number 4 with Fruit Lovers in the lead.
Yeah, well, that's actually a game 3 that ends it this set with the best of 3. So Fruit Lovers, yeah, best of 3 round 1.
Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah. There's no forgiveness here. No losers bracket.
Imagine
so
if you all believed me and it was a lie.
Well, I have Sendo pulled up, so you know.